Welcome
And
back.
it's been should we say, a really inspirational, thoughtful, thought processed morning. And this is what we're talking about is the types of challenges that we're facing in our lives and showcasing role models and people that are educated in the field to be able to help us realize how we can overcome it and create those support structures that we're looking for. And one of them is the person that I'm going to be speaking to you now. Let me just give you a little bit insight. I'm going to be speaking to Mihle Zethu Dini. And Mihle is going to share her story of how she turned her life around from being addicted to substance abuse and what it's done for her. But through that, I think she's been a truly inspirational person because she's then created the organization called the Mustard Seed Foundation. And she's going to be giving us a lot more insight into that this morning. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Mid Morning Show with myself, Nafisa Dango Mitle.
Hello to everyone. Yes, my name is Mihle Dini, and I'm so happy to be on the show today. Thank you so much, Nafisa.
It's actually a pleasure having you, Mitle, because I think you've been a role model and inspiration for us, especially with a subject like this. I mean, I want you to first, before we go into anything else, is of course pen out your little story to our viewers so they understand what you've been through. And then we're going to talk about the Mustard Seed Foundation. But I'm sure, you know what, for us, we're actually, should we say, proud to have you on our show in the sense that you've turned your life around in so many a direction from what you went through. And I'm sure you're going to pen this out to our viewers now. But to where you are today is such a milestone. So before we even start, we'd like to congratulate you and take our hats off
Thank,
to you with all the due respect to say that, you know what,
thank,
it's a subject, as you know, it's very taboo in our communities. And this is why we really wanted you to showcase yourself as the role model that you are to people that are in situations like that and giving that hope to others for them to understand and realize that you're not alone. There is hope out there and there are support
you.
structures like yourself to be able to create a better quality of life. So before we go into Mustard Seed Foundation, pen out your story to us. I really want our viewers to listen to what you've been through, to understand the types of challenges you faced and how you overcame them.
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up all over the place. I moved around a lot, and my family life was not the best environment to grow up into, and it was really like some tough situations that I grew up in. But I really don't like to go into detail about them because they don't just involve me, they involve like a lot of my family members, and so it's quite sensitive to my family. But I grew up like in a very sensitive and tough environment. And then I got saved at the age of 12 in 2009. That's when I decided to change my life and just accept God into my life. And so, because I knew that in order to pray and be heard, I need to accept this God into my life. And I know that if I do that, there's going to be a big change. And so that was the first decision. And then I went along with my life and I started praying specific prayers about the situations that I was in. And then in 2012, it was when I actually made a conscious decision to just stop anything that was faith based. I just decided to let go of my faith and to just live my life, because I felt like it was not working. Sometimes when you pray about something and it doesn't happen immediately, you start to lose the faith. And so that's basically what happened to me. That it was in 2012, in grade 10. That is when I started smoking marijuana, which is weed in our sorry. So I started smoking marijuana, and then I went from that to drinking alcohol. I started drinking a lot, and basically, like, marijuana was my go-to. I was smoking a lot, and it used to help me at that time because I used to feel like the problem that I was facing, like, it was a bit, it made less and less sense to stress about it every time like I would smoke weed. And then as time went by, 20, it affected my schoolwork, my school environment, my school behavior, because I started being very unruly at school. I used to be chased out of class for like 3 months, and I wouldn't mind because that meant I would get to smoke more. And so like it just affected a lot of especially my academics as well were badly affected by me smoking and me drinking. I used to bunk school a lot, and just a lot of things. My home environment, I used to get into a lot of trouble with my parents, because they saw that there was something weird that I was doing, but they didn't quite understand what it was. And then 2015 I moved to Joburg for like a short course that I did in cabin crew. When I got there, I felt like, okay, I got the freedom that I needed. I love it. I can do whatever I want. That is when I would smoke like a cigarette in front of anyone, because no one knew me there and my parents were not there. So no one had the right basically to tell me what to do and what not to do. So I would smoke quite openly, something that I would never do in my hometown here in Umtata. So I was just that person, and I made a conscious decision that I wanted to be that person who smokes. Like I wanted to be a person who smokes weed regularly and cigarettes and all of that. So I smoked, and while I was in Joburg, I started there was a lot of opportunities that presented themselves for me to smoke even hardcore drugs. That was, I started smoking cat. I would smoke cat, I would smoke cocaine. And then as time went by, okay, I went back home because I finished my course and I graduated. And then as I came back home, I got back into that habit, like deep into the habit of smoking. But then now, weed was not enough. Like that was around 2016 now. Weed was not enough. Like I wanted something stronger. And by then, I was drinking a lot and I was running away from home a lot, because when you grow up around strict parents, they don't want you to do certain things. And I was that person who was like, okay, if you don't allow me to do this, then rather I leave the house and live somewhere else where I will be allowed to do whatever I want. So
Right.
I was in that mind.
Mithle, let me
Sorry.
come in there. Let's make our viewers understand, why is it that you needed to do that? What was the root of your problem? What made you decide that, you know what, this is it? I want to start taking weed because these are the types of situations I'm facing. What was it that
Okay.
was making you do that? We want to understand, make our viewers understand today that we always, when it comes to these type of situations, need to work backwards and find out the
Mm,
root and the stem of
the
the
root of
problem,
the
something that is troubling you as a person, as an individual, that is actually
yeah.
edging you on to take it. So, what edged
Yeah.
you on to actually get into that?
It was a lot of frustration, Nafisa. It was a frustration from my home environment, the things that I was experiencing at home. It was quite the tough environment for
Mm,
someone to grow up in. And I wanted something like I wanted something to just put my mind in a different space. Like I liked my mind feeling, the feeling of being high, where you don't think about anything, you don't stress about anything. And
mm,
it's because I couldn't change the situation that I was in at home. I felt like, okay, I need something to help me relax. Yeah, that's
mm,
I think that's a proper word to use. I wanted something to help me relax, because at school I started being this person who would just have episodes of during the week. Maybe some days I wouldn't want to talk to anyone. Some days I wouldn't want to interact with anyone, or I would just have days where I was extremely, extremely sad, and I didn't know how to describe the emotion and why the emotion was there. Because sometimes it didn't even take something
mm,
drastic happening at home at that day that would cause me to
mm,
do that. But it was just me constantly feeling like I'm not okay. Like my head was not okay. I just needed something to help me relax. Like to a point where I didn't understand it at first, but I
mm,
before weed, I started taking pills. Like it was
mm,
just those pain medications that you would get from the doctor, because I would have a lot of headaches at that time, and they were
mm,
migraines that were caused by the stressful situation that I was in. So my doctor kept on prescribing these pain medication for me, and I started overdosing them. I would take maybe 7 or 10, because I knew
sure.
that feeling that they would give me. So
Mm.
it was just a matter of wanting something that was gonna
Would you
make me
say
a
that
little
it,
bit
yeah,
unconscious.
would you say it was your coping mechanism at that point in time, but you
Yes.
didn't realize that it wasn't actually helping you in some way, but it was creating a
Yes.
worse situation that you were in before. So
Yes.
basically, what was
Yes.
happening is these pain pills were drowning the type of issue you were in, and you were not
Yes.
realizing that that's not the way to solve your problem. The root of the
Yeah.
problem was something that
Yeah.
you need to find. What was
Yeah.
your root? You said was your environment at home and the type of
Home.
aspects you went through. And I think also, if I stand to be corrected here, is when you found out that you were HIV positive. Am I right?
That was much later. That was much
Mm.
later. So as I continued trying hardcore and more hardcore drugs, in 2017 was when I started smoking tick. So I started
Sure.
smoking tick in 2017 because I was living in PE at the time, and I got into a situation where I was raped, and then I was in another situation. I was molested in the street. Like, these two guys came up to me, they took off my clothes, and they molested me in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
So those situations, like, okay,
Mm.
first of all, I quit my
Mm.
job in PE. I decided to come back home, but still, I did not deal with the problem. I did not deal with what had happened,
Mm.
but I just decided to go back home. And so, obviously, in my true nature that I thought was normal, I started smoking again and again. And then this one time, I found a friend of mine smoking something, and I asked him what was it, and he told me that it was tick, which is
Mm.
crystal meth. So I was like, okay, let
Right.
me try it. He made me try it. I smoked it. I loved it. And then that's where I decided that I'm going to smoke this thing. So 2018, going into 2018, I was already like a regular tick smoker. I was addicted to tick. My body had already I had already started losing so much weight, and like
Mm.
all of those things, side effects that you get from tick, where you don't get hungry, you don't sleep. I was there. So late 2018, that was, I think, May, my contract got ended at work. It expired. And then
Mm.
I actually went to the doctor for something else, but my doctor then suggested that I should get tested just for the sake of it. And for me, I was like, okay, I donate blood all of the time. And usually when you donate blood, they say that if there's a
Mm.
problem with your blood, they're going to call you and tell you. So I was
Yes.
donating blood, and no one had ever called me to tell me that there was a problem with my blood. So at that point, I'm already confident that, okay, there's nothing. So I just want to give this doctor the satisfaction of me testing. So yeah, I got
Okay.
tested, and I came back a few weeks later to fetch the results. And I actually wanted to read the results by myself because I thought I was smart. But I read the
Mm.
results and it didn't make any sense to me. They just wrote reactive and stuff. So I was like, okay, let me wait for this guy to come and interpret these results for me. He came in and
Okay.
interpreted them. And even then, at the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting for this guy to tell me that I'm negative so I can go home. Because he's doing that
Right.
pre-counseling thing. And so he was like, okay, so yeah, you're HIV positive.
Sure.
And
Okay.
I was
Let's
like,
stop there. We're going to go for a quick break, Mihle, and then we're going to join you back with that particular aspect of your life.
all right, not a problem.
فبدوت شخصا آخر كي أتفاخر وظننت أنا أني بذلك حزت غنى فوجدت أني خاسر فتلك مظاهر لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا جوهرنا هنا في القلب تلالا لا لا نرضي الناس بما لا نرضاه لنا حالا ذاك جمالنا يسمو يتعالى أوه 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 كن أنت تزداد جمالا كن أنت تزداد جمالا.
From the townships of South Africa, the refugee camps in Syria, or orphanages in Yemen, the eyes of the needy speak volumes with just one glare. We know what it's like to be at ground zero, with food essentials, clothing and blankets, fresh water portal trucks, and even on-site navigators. We use every cent to better their tomorrow, Become part of our journey to bring relief to all. Go to www.ashrafulaid.org or call us on 011 809 8181. Ashraful Aid, under the auspices of Maulana Suhail Wadi.
هذا هو الميزان.
Babu, why don't you loosen your belt a bit more?
But why now?
Well, it's very tight, blocking air to your brain.
Haju, this is only a start. I need to tighten up a bit more. Funds are tight and the cost of living is high.
Funds are not tight. It's your haram insurance which is tightening our barakat.
Okay, Haju. I will call my insurance friend tomorrow.
Maybe
Salam
I must
media.
tighten up on my cooking from now on too.
No, Haju, we don't need to tighten up. It's okay. Look, I'm even throwing away my belt.
Don't tighten your belt. Change your insurance. Leaving Riba Insurance is easier than you think. Call Amana IFS for all your personal and commercial takaful needs. 0861 786 393. Amana, leave Riba for good. Amana IFS is a registered financial service provider.
Africa.
As the crisis in Palestine continues, the Africa Muslims Agency teams are on the ground facilitating emergency food and medical assistance to the affected families. Donate 15,000 rand or any amount and help the people of Palestine. Call AMA now on 083-251-9376 or donate online at Africa Muslims Agency.co.za. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
This is the Nafisa Dango Show, and you are listening to Salam Media.
Welcome back. And we're talking a topic that I think many people in the communities all around us look at it as a taboo subject. But it's something that has to be addressed in order for us to be able to help the people that are in these situations to overcome it, firstly, and give them the support structures that they need to be able to change the type of quality of lives that they're living. And I have a phenomenal young lady with me today, Mihle, who's been there. And she's penning out her story so seriously to show us that what she's been through and how she's done her turnaround is what's important for us to understand that there is an evolution, there is a turnaround point, there is a stage in your life where you can realize and say, this is my turning point. This is what I'm going to do to be able to better my quality of life. Mihle, thank you for joining us back on the show. Before we left, we spoke about your HIV situation and what it meant to you.
Yes.
And how difficult it was. It's not one of the easiest things to be able to face, especially after going through a molestation, which is rather traumatic on its own. And also, having to face the environments that you had come from Umtata itself. So there's many challenges that you faced. And I want our viewers to know today, what was your turning point in your life? What made you realize that, you know what, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do anymore. I really need to change my life for the better and make people also understand that this is not a subject that needs to be taken and hidden away. It needs to be spoken about, and the people that are in those situations need to be helped. Mihle, are you there? Did you get my question? Mihle, your thing is muted. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay. Yes, you were on mute at the moment, but I can hear you now. Can you unmute your phone? Right, there we go.
Yes, I can.
Did you
Okay.
get my question?
Yes, I got. I'm continuing the HIV.
Okay, so I asked you the question. I was, I understand the HIV, I understand the situation that you've been through regarding the molestation, the environment at your home. There's so many challenges and should we say negative things that you've been through in your life. What was your turning point? What made you decide that, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is not what I want for my life. And also making people understand that, a lot of the times, and in communities, it's not just one community, and communities on the whole, they look at it as a taboo subject. It's something they don't want to talk about. It's something they don't want to face. And it's something that, where they're not making the person that is on that substance abuse realize how detrimental it is for their for their lives and for the people around them. Because as we know, with what you went through, it wasn't just you that was affected, your entire family was affected with it as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, the point where I decided that I have to change, because after finding out my status, I actually went deeper and deeper and deeper, to a point where everyone now in my family was kept on asking me, bro, what are you doing? Like,
Mm,
and again, with tick, people don't see. You smoke it,
mm,
it doesn't even smell. So now no one knows what is going on. Like, no one knows.
mm,
They just see me deteriorating in health, deteriorating in weight, everything of mine. I looked really horrible. And now the people that I
mm,
was also associated with here in town, the people that I used to be seen with, they were also
mm,
those people in town where you see, oh, these people are smokers. So why Mihle is she with these people? So I decided then, there was a point where I smoked so much, to a point where I felt like I'm losing my mind. I felt like I
mm,
was losing my mind. There were times where I would smoke and I couldn't breathe. I would feel like the house is suffocating me. Like those things that
mm,
started happening that were weird, that never happened before as I was still smoking crystal meth. So that was
mm,
around 2019, where every time I would smoke, I would feel suffocated. I would feel like I'm gonna die. My heart is beating so fast. And then I decided, no, no, this thing, like, it's not for me anymore. Because now the way I'm feeling, it's gonna, one day it's gonna cause me to go to hospital because of it. So that was the time I decided I want to stop. But that was the decision. The action now was the difficult part. Was actually
mm,
implementing the fact that I want this thing.
mm. Mithle, we seem to be losing a bit of signal there. Um, can you try unmuting your phone again?
I'm so sorry.
Okay, there. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better. Now I can hear you. Yes. So, as you were saying, your turning point was the fact that you realized that your family, I think, made you also realize that this is not what you need from your life, and how much further would you like to go on in that particular
Yes.
space where you're not moving forward. Let's be honest. I mean, it's detrimental because you're starting to lose your health. You're starting to lose your mental wellness. And also,
Mm,
you're not progressing in life as
yeah.
such. It really stops you from finding that progress that you're looking for, because it stomps you in some way. You find that you stagnate,
Yes.
and that's just where you are, and that's where you're going to be, which is really not a good space to
Yeah.
be in,
Even
because
if you are at school, it makes you stop wanting to go to school. Even at the time when I was working, sometimes at Standard, I was working at this other company, sorry. As I was working, there were days where I felt like, no, I want to quit this job, because I want to quit this job so that I can go home and smoke. Like, that was my main thing all the time. I felt like this job is just taking away time for me to smoke. So there was, like, my thought process was no longer good anymore. Because could to think
mm,
that I was already thinking those types of thoughts of, I want to stop working here so that I can have more time to smoke. That was detrimental on its own. Like, that's why we notice most drug addicts, if they're at school, they'll stop going to school. If
mm,
they have a job,
mm,
they'll stop going to the work. So it just
mm,
destroys every aspect of your life. Everything in your life becomes destroyed by this one thing.
mm, mm. So let's talk about
So
the inception of Mustard Seed Foundation, because as we know, you had a turning point in your life. You realized that this is not what you want
yes,
from your life. You need something better. So what is this, what
yes,
edged you on to actually start Mustard Seed Foundation, to be able to help the youth stay away from drugs and other social ills as well, not just the substance abuse itself?
yes, yes. Well, I decided, yes, it was one of my quests to really, really get away from this drug, to really get away from drug addiction. It was to exert myself in something else. Because one thing I know, even from the internet, when you learn how to get rid of a habit, you have to start a new one. So I decided,
Mm,
okay, where can I put all of my energy, all of my mind, all of my strength, and just exert myself in this thing where I can be able to do it Monday to Sunday with no free time. Because another thing that causes us to relapse is to have a lot of free time on your hands and you then feel like you want to smoke. So I decided then, it was an idea that I had from a long time ago, but I decided at that time, let me implement it. Let me start Mustard Seed Foundation. Initially, Mustard Seed Foundation was a foundation that helps people that are in need. Mainly, if you are in need of anything, like last year, we adopted like 2 girls. They came to live at my grandmother's house. We were buying them groceries, buying them toiletries, trying to just make sure that they have a good quality of life, donating clothes, donating everything. We then got to a point where, yeah, we were doing so many things. We were doing so many things, even around Umtata. So I decided then, as the Mustard Seed was getting bigger and bigger, my sister has an organization called Powerhouse. We decided to integrate Mustard Seed to a Powerhouse, because Powerhouse deals mainly with young people, and Mustard Seed now, when it is merged, it is able to help those young people from Powerhouse. So we have merged Mustard Seed and Powerhouse, and they now go by the name of Powerhouse. We're able there. I started this initiative called Arise to Life, whereby I help other people that are trapped in this drug addiction and substance abuse to be able to escape it. And I teach them how to daily. It's a day you learn.
Your signal seems to be quite bad there, Mihle. We're starting to lose. I'm not getting sound out of you, my dear. Mihle, can you hear me?
Keeps
I'm not
calling me.
getting
So
sound.
sorry.
Oh, there we go. There we
Yes.
go. There we go. Right now, I can hear you. We seem to lost signal
Yes.
there.
It's
As
just
you were
that.
saying, so you created this merge with yourself and your sister. What has it meant for you to know that you can reach
Yes.
out to other
Yes.
people that have been in similar situations like yourself? I think you really, and I think, found your purpose in life. This has given you that awakening to say that I've gone
Yes.
through this, but
Actually.
I'm not going to let it hold me
Yes.
back, bring me down, and
Yes.
I'm not going to take the negative out of
Yes.
it. But I'm going to ask myself, what is it that I can do to better my life, but also get selfless and better the life and the quality of others that are in a similar situation? And I think that's what this merger is about. And there's so many young people that start losing direction due to, should we say, coming into contact with these negative sort of elements in the communities.
Yes.
And you've now learned to teach them that there's better things out there that they can do with their lives as opposed to getting involved with something like that.
Yes. And there are
Mihle,
better solutions, because I understand that young people right now, they are going through the most. Like, if I went through such bad things and that caused me to go into, then they also experiencing some issues. And now with Powerhouse, we are able then to understand what is the root of the problem, what's going on in your home environment, what's going on in school. Some of them, they're being bullied, some of them have been raped, some of them at home, it's not they're just underprivileged, and it's very stressful, especially in high school, when you don't have the uniform that other kids have, when you can't pay for that excursion that the school is having. There's just so many things that can cause people to delve into these things, because they really do cause your mind to not think about it, to think about something else. So able now to interact with these kids on a personal level and understand what is going through their minds, what is going on in their lives, and understand that if they have not started drugs, then they should not. If they have, we teach them different way to channel the anger that they feel towards whatever situation that they faced. And we also try to counsel them, because as a person that was also diagnosed with depression and anxiety, I went to a psychiatric hospital, and I believe that I was equipped also on how to deal with these mental breakdowns and mental issues. So I know that in some instances, I'm able to help someone who is going through the same thing. If someone feels like mentally I'm not okay, I'm not sleeping well, and like my mind is just not at ease, then I'm
Mm.
at least help that person as far as I can. And then if it's beyond, I can then refer that person to someone that I know will be able to help. Like here in Umtata, we have a medical service that offers psychiatric and psychological sessions for free on Wednesdays. So
The signal seems to be getting quite bad there, Mihle. Shall we try that one more time? Mihle? Okay, so the signal seems to be quite bad from Mihle's side. We'll see if we can try and get it back on. There we go.
I'm how to
You seem to be breaking up quite a bit, my dear. Mihle, we can't seem to hear you, my dear. You seem to be breaking up quite badly. It appears as though the signal is rather bad there where you are at the moment. We're going to try and get back to you. We're going to just go for a quick ad break and see if we can come back to the story.
Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Reliable access to clean water could save thousands of lives each day. With proper sanitation and easy access to fresh, clean water, communities can flourish. Our Thirst Relief Appeal provides clean water to communities in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East by building deep wells and providing sustainable water and hygiene solutions. A monthly donation of as little as 700 Rand could build a well for a community in need. That's only 23 Rand a day. Donate today. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 11 00 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Did you know that you can get the latest humanitarian news and updates from the Al Imdad Foundation by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube? You can also receive our flash updates via WhatsApp by adding 082 591 6430 as a contact and sending us a WhatsApp message with your name. That's 082 591 6430. Visit alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
This is the Mihle Zethu Dini Show, and you are listening to Salam Media.
Oh, and it's been a very, should we say, interesting one this morning with Mihle Dini on the line. Unfortunately, she had a bad signal, so we couldn't get her back on. But I think the gist of it is that, irrespective of the type of challenges and situations that she faced, and trust me, they were not just light ones. They were really serious situations that she faced in her life, from being molested, the environment she was in her home, to, of course, finding out that she's HIV positive, and having to take all those many things through substance abuse to try and kind of drown all of that, made her realize after a while, through some support structures and, should we say, kindness and love, that that is not the way to go in life. And she realized that she has a deeper purpose, and her deeper purpose was opening up this powerhouse with her sister, which started off as Mustard Seed Foundation and then merged into Powerhouse. And I think the word alone speaks so much for itself. It teaches us that, we're all our powerhouses on our own, and we're powerhouses to others in our family, where we create structures and make them understand that the situations they're in, could be faced through many different things, and having to find the root of the problem and sorting it out, but also making them understand that there's some value attached to them and they can change their lives for the better, and make them understand the value that they have. And I think that's what's important. That was the point that she was trying to make, and saying that there are support structures out there, and it's not something that we should look at as taboo, but I think it's a community and a general issue that is going around where it's getting a lot more rife than what it was before. So I think it's about time we started nipping it in the bud by helping as many people out as we can as possible through Mihle and the different organizations that are reaching out to people with regard to this type of situation. So do understand that you're not alone in this. There are support structures out there. And let's not forget what Nazia spoke to us earlier about is our self-esteem, the way we perceive ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves. So I think it's having to realize that we do have some value within ourselves and we can then turn our potentials into the positive as opposed to taking that negative on and creating that negative element that is really going to destroy our lives and ruin us as people. So that is, I think, just the gist of what Mihle had to say. So I think we want to commend her and, of course, her sister on the type of work that they're doing in their community in Umtata to be able to change people's lives and make them understand the values attached to themselves, that they can change it and that it does mean something to have value attributed to yourself. So I'm hoping this has helped many of people that are facing this particular situation to say that this is not something we're going to just leave like that, because of course that's not going to help. It's having to find the root of the problem and then of course attacking it and finding the positive in everything. So stick with us. We're going to go for a break and we'll be back with you in a second.
Alhamdulillah.